Greetings, and welcome to Channel OtherDoc. I'm Jim. I use he, him pronouns. And today is the first of two one-shots of 10 Candles by Stephen Dewey. It's a tragic horror game about the last few hours of a handful of a handful of survivors in a world that has gone dark. Our Roll20 layout today was provided by Wild Engineer, and it's much appreciated that they already had that set up for us. As far as the way the candles are going to work, because normally this is played in a room with people, and you turn out all the lights, and the lights come from the candles, and you reach over, and the candles, the plot advances by the candles going out, so we're going to do that a little bit differently today. But before I get into the nitty-gritty of that, let's go around and say hi to everyone as we get ready to meet these last survivors. And let's go clockwise. I'm going to start with Levi. Hello.
Hello, I am Levi. I use he, pronouns, and I will be playing Jackson Hall, who uses he, him.
And Rock. Hello.
Hey, Jim. So I'm Rock, he, him pronouns. Today I'll be playing Callum Culator, who uses he, him pronouns as well.
And another new face to the channel, Robbie. Hello. Muted. You're muted.
I'm a fool. My name is Robbie. I use they, them pronouns. And I will be playing today Barry. Oh, geez, what did I name my dang character? I'm a fool.
We're all fools.
Yep.
We're all fools here. It doesn't matter.
I'll be playing Barry. We're just going to go with that.
Well done.
He uses he, him pronouns.
Awesome. And Pope, hello.
Hey everybody, Pope here. Today as we get aboard this scary tale of darkness, I will be playing Alan Best. Both of us use he, him pronouns.
Excellent. I don't know, some of these folks, no matter what terrible things I do to them, they just keep coming back. I don't understand it. Before we get into how this whole thing works, like we do with most games on this channel, we are going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. That is particularly important with a game like this. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of us, any of us can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or we can make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that we're okay having in the game, but we don't want a graphic description of it, we can type an N in the Zoom video chat, and we can then fade to black on it, or we can put a bind to veil, essentially. So it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if we're exploring a topic or an area of roleplay that's particularly intense for us, but we want to keep going anyway, we can put an O in the chat to let us know that we're okay and that we're all good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we're moving into a difficult topic, or we say or we do something and then think, maybe that might have been a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that with an X, an N, or an O, and let us know if we're still doing okay. 10 Candles. So I've been wanting to try this game for some time. The base idea here is that 10 days ago, the sun went out. Just like that. No more sun in the sky. Darkness all the time. 5 days ago, they showed up. It's hard to define exactly what they are, in part because this is a largely improvised game, and things will change narratively as we go. But the thing that's known about them, it's not really known if they have weaknesses, except for one, and that is that they fear the light. Light does seem to hurt them. But at this point, everyone is been having to deal with the fact that you have nothing nothing basically working powered by satellites, and then of course there was way too much usage on other things at that point. The power grid couldn't handle it, and went down pretty much globally, and so everyone is left in the dark. Hopefully trying to find at least a single moment of hope before they die. And let us also be very clear. This is not survival horror. This is tragic horror. All of these characters we've just had briefly introduced to us are going to die by the time we get to the end of this. But what matters here is what it is that they do with the time they have left. The scenario we are using for this, he says, scrolling as far as he can into the book, there it is Adrift, which some of you may have seen before on some other channels or what have you. But it looked like this one could work out nicely. Here's the scenario. The cruise ship has been silent for 10 days. Silent, save the occasional howl on the wind and screams quickly silenced. The motors have gone quiet, and you have been adrift in the darkness. Backup energy and emergency lights held out for some time, but now even they have begun to fade. There were rumors of a secondary backup generator below deck, but with no one to activate it, the ship is being overtaken by night. Perhaps even more unsettling, however, is the fact that, less than an hour ago, the ship's motor started once more. The ship is moving, but under whose control? You have barricaded yourselves in a cabin, and now the ship is turning off course, sailing to the unknown. If you could get to the backup generator, you may be able to retake the ship, maybe even send out a call for help. That is, if you can move quickly enough before your shadowed cruise arrives at its new destination. Areas of note: cabins, generator, radio room, bridge, and a thing they're calling Isle of the Dark. I can't wait to find out what that is. The goal is to activate the generator and retake the ship. Now, this game has essentially 10 scenes to it. Anytime a candle goes out, that means that we're going to the next scene. At the beginning, there is a common pool of dice that all players can use. They are a pool of d6s. And so in this first scene, you have 10d6 basically to roll. But you need to, the thing is, you need to have at least 1 6 in order to succeed at something. Anytime you fail, we snuff out a candle. And then I get that die. So on we go until we reach the end. You have traits you can use. You can use 1 per scene. If you burn your trait, if you save, well, we'll come to that when we get into the die rolling. There are things that you can do. Say if you roll poorly, if you get a bunch of 1s, and you have a virtue or vice staring you in the face, you can burn that and re-roll the 1s. If you have your moment as being a thing on top, everyone's looking for a single moment of hope, and this is not, ultimate success. This doesn't need to be anything that big. Your moment is just one thing you can cling on to, you think you can try to go for, a thing that'll happen during this time that will allow you to gain some hope. And if that works, then if you're successful there, you'll get a hope die. Then, of course, the bottom of everyone's stack, they have their brinks, which have been provided by the other players. And myself. Because they are in the mix here as well. Your brink is something where we get to see your true nature, or a part of you that perhaps not everyone sees. Once we see that, as long as you keep succeeding with it, you can keep using it without having to burn it, but once per scene. But after that, if you fail using it, then that burns as well. And those are the basics. So, this is a cruise ship, and from the information you folks provided to me, seems to me this is one of those big cruise liners. I took the liberty of grabbing some blueprints that I thought perhaps I should look at, and they are strange and wondrous things. We're going to keep things fairly loose, though, as these things go. But we've got, what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 floors to this thing. Luxury cruise liner, bunch of different things on it. I'm seeing a thing that looks like a big park type area. There are multiple swimming pools, dining areas, areas for entertainment, and areas to keep vehicles. All manner of things. There's even a thing out there. It looks like some kind of exercise yard type deal. Not sure what that is. Oh, I know what that is. Never mind. We don't need to worry about that right now. Places for kids to play. A place of happiness! I do hope that they are finding it as happy as you did. All right. Whose cabin is this?
I think it's mine.
So everyone has, as you hold up in this cabin, you have just recently taken the opportunity to either record or write down your last messages to the world, should things go wrong. And, it's been, boat started moving again, so we got to figure out what's happening. I think we'll go around actually one more time, just describe what everyone looks like and any other details you kind of want to tell about the character. Any order. Actually, we'll go ahead and start with Alan. It's his room.
Alan is not a very tall man. Think of Danny DeVito circa twins, with a younger Burl Ives face. Beard. Normally, he looks quite jolly in his most definitely touristy outfit. Sandals, cargo shorts, and floral Hawaiian shirt. But it is clear by how just pallid his face is that he has not been well for some time. The thing with cruise ships is they harbor all sorts of nasty little bugs, and he caught one. So while most of everyone's been out having fun, he's been worshiping the porcelain god. But at this moment, his eyes are more sunken in for more terrifying reasons. He was here for the anniversary of some friends close to his wife, Cassie. He hasn't seen or heard her for some time.
How long ago was the last time you saw her?
Last time I saw her was right about the time that the screaming started.
All right. Let's just keep going around the circle here to Jackson. Tell us what we see.
Jackson's very athletic-looking young man, 20 at most. He has this kind of dark brown hair, swept to the side, wearing some Oregon State event shirts that I brought, and he's just pacing, kind of like almost preparing himself for what he intends to do.
Excellent. Callum, what do we see?
Holmes, about average height, slight athletic build. Obviously he's not been keeping up at the gym as regularly as he should. Short, kind of dark, coppery colored hair. And he is just kind of standing at the wall, staring out the porthole. I'm assuming that Alan has a side cabin, right? Okay, so he's kind of staring out the porthole, just looking at the darkness.
Okay. And Barry, what do we see of Barry?
Barry is sort of average height, sort of a dirty blonde hair, long enough to be pulled back in a ponytail, and a sort of well-trimmed beard. And he is probably just kind of sitting in a chair trying to keep his cool and stay relaxed.
Okay. So, I will note I just heard thunder outside as we've been having storms going by. So, hopefully the stream will be holding up as things go. But if we suddenly disappear, hopefully we've not all been snuffed out and it'll just be the storm. We'll find out. So, it is dark. What do you folks? You folks have anything that you can use as a light source to try to look around?
Well, first it was using the phone. The batteries wore out about a day ago. Now, it's Cassie always comes prepared. Freaking Skadians. So we have a little pop-up lantern that, she uses for just mood lighting. Also fumbling around in the dark without waking me. I'm kind of light sensitive. So got one of those. Battery says it should last 12 hours. Let's see. And a couple of hand flashlights. But that's out of her suitcase, not mine. All I've got is, a lighter just in case something needs to be lit. And when I'm stressed, maybe lighting one of the few cigars I've got left. Those have already gone. So that's about it from my perspective.
Cassie was very well prepared. It's good. So, what are we doing?
I don't think we can just stay here. The boat's moving, we don't know where. And hearing from the folks across the hall, there's something about maybe a secondary generator downstairs, but I'm a writer, I'm not an electrician.
Yeah, I know a thing or two, but that was gonna be enough to start up what's down there, if anything.
I mean, we're probably not going to have to, sort of rewire the thing, right? We'd probably just have to flip a switch, I'm betting? I don't know.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's already hooked up to the electrical grid. Actually, wait a minute. It didn't kick on. Something like this, if it was connected to the grid, it probably would have kicked on based off of a failsafe. That's the way a lot of these systems are set up.
Right.
I mean, what's the point of having a backup if it doesn't actually back up?
It's an older cruise liner, so it may have failed, or it might need, someone to operate it. Hit a button.
I mean,
It's
you
worth a
probably
shot.
have to. I mean, you probably have to. You probably have to go ahead and make sure that it's connected. And after that, usually these systems have some kind of process for switching them on.
Things have gotten quiet. We haven't heard a yelp in 12 hours. Last I heard, the door swinging open was that nice couple across the hall. I think it was David Allison. I can't remember. Anyway, I know they were going to slip out, well, thinking we're slipping out, about trying to find some food. I know Dave was hankering for some alcohol. That was it. Last I heard anything was that door maybe swinging open about, what? I can't even remember when I napped last. I've been up for all of, 30 minutes.
Yeah, hadn't heard much either. Maybe some footsteps, but I wasn't sure enough to actually check.
Slip out. You guys are crazy. Leaving here? That's death.
Okay, we're going to need food. We might still have water, but who knows how long the pumps are going to hold out.
Yeah, it's not as though we can't start the backup generator from here, so we're gonna have to leave to get something done.
True.
All that's left in the mini bar is freaking things of peanuts and 2 little shooters of Tanqueray.
Okay. It's just, how do you think we're gonna get down there? All of us.
Can't use the elevators. We're going to have to use the stairs.
I think there's a few crew access halls somewhere on this deck.
It's probably the best plan. Might be a little more direct than trying to navigate our way through the passenger cabins and whatnot.
Might have a better floor plan in case of emergencies.
Yeah, there's a map for emergency exiting at the end of the hallway.
Yeah. So.
It's just trying not to go up too far topside. That's apparently where they are.
Yeah, and they're the biggest threat right now.
Yeah.
Whatever they are.
Also, just strongly, as I'm going to take a bathroom break right here, because Lord knows what we're going to find out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
right.
Go use the bathroom, comes back, takes Cassie's first aid kit out of her luggage, as well as her backup fanny pack, straps that on. The first aid kit awkwardly secured in the band of the fanny pack. Grabs his multi-tool that he doesn't leave home without, just because you don't know when you need to mend something. Has that on his belt, and grabs the last bit of matches from the complimentary matchbook that's in here, as well as the vase and fake flowers, which can be lit and used as a torch. If one of you guys want to carry the ladder and the 2-pin flashlights, feel free.
Jackson will probably take the lantern and probably his pocket knife that would have been allowed on the ship, so just like has his keys in the self-defense position.
While Alan was in the bathroom, I swiped the last two shooters of Tanqueray, stuffed them in my pocket. And I'll take one of the pen flashlights, because all I've probably got is keys and a wallet and a lighter.
Is this a, did you go first class or second class?
This is first class. I mean, if we're going to do this, I mean, it was my first cruise. I
Awesome.
typically like flying.
So first class extends down from the saloon deck down to C deck. Actually, so does... Actually, no, it's the same for pretty much everyone. Never mind. First and second class. The rooms. So what that means is that you have... If we assume that I'm not sure if I remember this correctly. I think it goes as you go down, the numbers get bigger. Or at least that's what I'm saying right now. So like decks 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Essentially are where you have first and second class going on. So
Yeah, traditionally ships usually are numbered from the main deck.
Mm-hmm.
And so like you would start main deck and then you would go the lower you go in the boat, the higher the number.
Yeah, okay. Cool. All right, so yeah, that's maybe just okay. Yeah, now that I'm looking it over. All right. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, how high up did you pay a lot? Was this like like the most possibly expensive first class ticket, or was this?
Oh no,
Yeah.
this was, we got as nice as we could get for as cheap as we could get.
Okay, so looking at things available, sort of happy medium. I'm feeling I'm feeling like probably we're looking at B deck,
That sounds right.
which has kind of the sort of mall-like area looking thing on it. Has a lot of little. It is an odd thing. Now, Jim has never been on a cruise ship, but he's going to make certain assumptions that there are things that are like businesses that are on there at this point, sort of little shops and what have you. But then also it's it's more you're going to be there for a long time, so it's like various entertainments, recreations. I think that's probably where the gym is on that level. Since you are in first class, you're closer to the front of the ship. That being, and so you've got like your rooms, mall area, then second class rooms. I think toward the aft of the vessel. And that's the basic sort of layout, sort of what we're looking at. And so in front of you there would be ways to go. You're actually probably not very far from, if I'm reading this, the print is very small, but if I'm reading this correctly, just further ahead of you is like a place that descends down into this sort of like an amphitheater type thing, if you, based on what you remember. And behind you is more where sort of the mall type area is. So that's the overall layout, but once again, you're looking for maps and stairs, I'm sure, very soon, as you had stated. So, still, you've got your supplies, and so looking out the window, you don't see a lot looking out the port window. It's dark. There's water. You are above the level of the water. That, at least. What are we doing?
Quietly opening the door, just peeking through, just seeing if it's still that same quiet, bloodless hallway that we came in on.
Well, as we have now entered the realm of uncertainty, it is time to roll. So, you get 10 dice. You need a 6. Excellent. Now, 3 of those dice were 1s. The scene goes on, but those 1s are set aside and cannot be used for the rest of this scene. Even if you succeed, you can still, if you want to reroll 1s, you can burn your. It looks like you've got a vice on top. There, you could burn that if you so desire, if you really want to. But aside from that, you're going to get narration here.
I'd rather take the successes and not risk it.
All right.
I mean, 7 still seems good.
Seven's great. 7's good, and I'm not rolling anything, so that's not this round.
It's when you get to 5 or less that I'm like,
Yeah, that's the way. Okay. So you folks still have 7 dice right now for this scene, and Pope, you get to tell me what you see on the other side. You get to narrate for a bit.
On the other side, it's still the same bloodless hallway. It's incredibly quiet, very dark, and one thing that is noteworthy is the door to Dave and Allison's has the sliding bolt holding it open instead of it being flush closed. Aside from that, the lights in the hall flicker. There's still some power going here, but you can already tell that things are going dark. And there's a little bit of reflections from the cheap little like ceiling tiles with little flecks of reflected, like popcorn ceiling with little bits of glitter in it. But it has, instead of that same old, acrid ship smell, there's almost like this coppery wind mixed in with it. And Alan slips on out. guys coming?
Jax just nods and comes with.
Yeah, I slip out with them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be left here by myself.
I see Allison and Dave's door open. I'm half tempted to not check it.
Yeah, I'd be in agreement there. Because if I don't know why anyone would leave their door open. So
Yeah.
best not to you know, poke at the embers, if you will.
Let's just slip out towards the aft. See if we can't find one of those emergency signs.
Yeah.
So we slip out, heading towards the mall section,
Okay.
and just keeping head on a swivel as we pass by one of the elevators and find ourselves a little map. It is laminated and firmly set into the wall, frustratingly so, but it's there. And it's incredibly quiet, aside from the sounds of the boat. It's painfully quiet.
Yeah. Totally.
So, how are we gonna get this thing out of here?
Or not. All we can do is try and memorize it. Oh, God.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think we could probably take it with us, couldn't we? Is there some way?
Well, it's got these brackets that it's kind of put into the wall. What did you call them, Pope?
It's this laminate that then has, as you've seen on, or at least I've seen in all the hotels here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
There's a metal lip over top, just putting it set into the wall. And fun times working in the service industry capital of the Southeast. When you pop the top, if you can pop the top, you'll see that that's just a covering. And as we like to say here in Orlando, especially since these screws are the same as the ones used in high schools and middle schools everywhere, they have proprietary "don't fuck with me" screws. Which means you need to have a very specific drill bit in order to mess with it.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a thing that you'd need the tools to get this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're very lucky. I've also just put a thing that is one of the maps that I've been looking at since you've just come across the map in the handouts there.
Oh my!
It's not very clear, but then my copy isn't either. So as far as the wording goes, but you can kind of see what the things that I've been talking about on them.
So using Central Park as a reference. Where are we?
So you're a bit. So you're kind of on the very edge of sort of where that. You know where the cutout stops, and then you get into that zone sort of on the right where you have the little house icon.
Yes. So
you're right at that point where it cuts from the. You're just at the edge of the mall type area. There.
Okay.
Mall dining
So
stuff creature.
If we headed towards the interior, actually, what we'll probably figure out from this map is it'll send us to whatever stairwell will lead us down to the lifeboat.
Yeah.
So we can take that at least down to there, but then afterwards we won't know where the hell we are. So just taking a look at this, it points us just a little ways towards from these elevators off to the side by a no longer humming ice machine. And then there's a stairwell that'll lead down, and then because of where we are, we'll be closer to the starboard side is where it's pointing us to get to the lifeboats.
Yeah, that is totally there. There would be lifeboats over there, and if I recall correctly, and anyone who's got nautical experience can correct me here, but I believe that the engines would be down under the sort of the column that's closer to the aft. You kind of just sort of under where I would presume the bridge is. You see those sort of pipes coming up out of the top of the thing by the giant anchor. Down below, down at the bottom, underneath those.
Well, you can see towards the aft of the ship, there's that section that has the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line symbol. That's where you'll find a good bit of engineering. And then in this one, just because of the few cruises that I have been on, but others have been, it's either where the heart is or where I think it's where the red person is. The person dot is the actual bridge.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So the bridge is up there. The engineering is all the way to the back end of the ship. And we're towards the front. And we need to head down to at least where we can gain access to, which is towards the lifeboats. And then try and cross all the way back.
You're probably saying towards that main deck of the ship, go to the engines, then find a way directly up. Yeah.
Yeah. Fiddle with the generator first and then head to the bridge. Because if we don't even have power, what's the point?
Right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of need power even to get the lifeboats out.
I mean, guys, how difficult can this be? We go down, we go back.
The difficulty is not knowing where they are.
Yeah. There's a lot of back to go through.
Well, we're not going to get through it standing around here looking at a map.
Well, the question is, do we go all the way down towards the lifeboats and go through the more choked hallways, or do we stop a little bit above and go in a place that doesn't have cover and go into the dining hall and cross it?
Yeah, I can't tell you why, but I have a bad feeling about the open areas, so better to stick to hallways.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like we'll need the cover more.
Yeah.
All right, all the way down it is then.
Okay.
And from here, we will push open past the ice machine that is now leaking everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're getting that bit of mold smell, and open the door. And
All right.
what emergency lighting is there? Well, we'll see what's in here.
Okay. So you are heading your way over there. As you are going to open the door, you all do hear what sounds it sounds like a distant thump behind you. From the direction of the rooms that you just left. Is anyone looking back? All right.
I'll go ahead and look back.
So, yeah, you see that the door to Dave and Allison's room is very slowly opening.
Seeing that, I'm gonna turn back around and keep going, following the group.
All right. So, who is leading the charge into the sort of mall/dining area?
Sure.
So, I think the first area you're going to come across as you're looking through there, it's this, there's this kind of little lounge over to your left that's sort of down a little bit, with carpeting and what have you. I think right now you're passing on the right. There's one of the. It's probably the casino for the ship. Which, you know, for some strange reason they put very close to the first class cabins. I can't imagine why. That you think is basically, you're seeing outlines, but this is also combined with sort of what you remember. There's really not, it would be nice if the backup generator had kicked in, but this is part of the problem, really. All you've got are the lights in your hands. And you look out into this kind of wide open area, but you were going to head down the stairs, weren't you? Is that...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Go into the hallway and just go down until it hits the
Stairs are
what
very
it will
close.
be its bottom, which leads out towards the level with the lifeboats.
Yeah.
So that would be its bottom.
You're very close to that. So who's going to be in front heading down the stairs?
I'm probably actually going to be last because I want to look for something. Is there a bar in the casino area?
You remember there being one, yes.
I'm going to see if there's essentially a towel and some bottle of alcohol that is not empty.
So Barry is heading off to the casino to get the to try to find a towel at the bar.
I'll be right back, guys.
What's everyone else doing?
I think Jackson would be more towards the front, and he just kind of like stops and it's like, "Shall we wait?"
We kind of have to.
Yeah.
Barry, you slowly enter the casino where you're looking around in the dark, and now is the time for you to roll 7 dice.
Seven dice.
Okay.
No one's.
No ones. So you
That's
still got
what's
7
important.
dice. And you got 3 sixes, so I mean you've got narrative control here. What's in here?
So I basically I wander over towards the bar and start shining my little pen light around, and I catch a glimpse of um, a bottle of overproof whiskey and like a towel, and I grab those both and I shove the towel in my pocket and grab the whiskey and start and jog back to the group.
Uh, yeah. Once you're out, Jackson just kind of nods, brings the lantern forward, and just starts moving.
As Barry is jogging back to the group, looks like he's perfectly fine. There's some more thumping around you here from the hallway behind you. Behind the door that you just pushed through, which is, of course, closed again now. You hear this sort of like someone sort of slapping up against the door.
Like full-on Ghostbusters-esque, grabbing the handrails and just shuffling in sandaled feet as quickly down the stairs as possible.
All right. Now, I heard from both Jackson and Alan as far as, the directional. So, which one of you is first as you're heading down the stairs?
Jackson is so much more athletic that he is first.
Jackson,
Yeah.
I need you to do something for me. I need you to roll 7 dice for me.
Yeah. Okay. Time to do a roll.
So you have no successes. You have 2 1s, and you want to burn anything, or shall I tell you how the scene ends?
I think I'm going to keep my cards close to the chest for now.
All right. So, as you are all heading down the stairs, someone bursts out of this door. Jackson, you're already part of the way down the stairs. Alan, you're pretty close behind him. Callum and Barry, you haven't quite gotten... these other guys are in front of you. So you get a good view of this man. Looks... Well, I don't know if you fellas have seen... What class were... Callum and Barry, what class were you in? First class, second class?
Barry's probably in second class.
And second class.
You do not recognize this guy. But... And it's dark, so you're getting mostly an outline. You've got sort of... You think it's a guy, curly hair, kind of coming out, just sort of juddering toward you. And as he gets sort of bolting out of this room, you hear... And he falls over at your feet. From the light of your little torches, you look down, see that you see this little trail of blood first leading from the door to where he's dropped, and there's this hole in his chest, and he's looking up at you, and he's still moving somehow. Despite the fact that something has torn out his heart. And he's looking up at you. He's like... And that's where that scene ends. candle is going out. We have the option at this point, perhaps, there's going to be a transition here, but let's talk about how the scenes end. There are a couple of things that happen. One of which, you see, we have collectively speaking new truths, and then we refill the die pool. Yes, excellent. So, how this goes? Let me find my my script here. Here we go. So, the GM says these things are true. The world is dark, and we each establish a single truth equal to the number of now lit candles. You go around for each of us until we hit 9 truths. This is writing the setting, basically. Writing details about what's going on. Now, as with any time you gain narration, the things you can't make truths about necessarily are, anything about the nature of the darkness necessarily, as far as you can't turn the sun back on. You can't suddenly bring out a thing where it's like and they are allergic to Kleenex, things like that. Does have to make sense within the context of what's going on. And remember, this is a tragedy. But you can narrate things that might help you as well. So as we go around, and again, we're going to continue clockwise for this. So we go around until we hit 9 things, and then we end with a final truth, which is, and we are alive, which is said by the players in unison. But we'll come to that. So these things are true, the world is dark, and Levi.
We have found an access door to one of the kitchens.
Okay. Rock?
There seems to be a lot of blood splattered all over the walls, pooling on the floor.
Robbie?
Yes. The freezer door of the kitchen appears to be chained shut.
And Pope?
None of the lifeboats have been deployed.
Yeah, that was everyone.
And let's see. I get one.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And there's a smell in the kitchen coming from somewhere, as yet unidentified, of rotting flesh. And?
That's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We got 3 more.
Yeah.
4 more. We got 4 more.
Yeah, 4 more.
So we each get 1.
There's only one knife left.
And?
There's 1 or 2. There's a flickering light that just barely illuminates a small portion of the kitchen.
Where is and I can ask for clarifications. Is this like what type of light is this? Is it a wall fixture, or is it like a portable thing that's sitting down somewhere? Or
No, it looks like it was probably a ceiling light. So like standard fluorescent long tube.
Gotcha.
But the housing itself has been partially dislodged.
Okay.
So it is slightly hanging at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't cast light directly down, it kind of casts it at an angle towards the floor.
Gotcha. Robbie?
Yeah. The rotting body is actually of one of the other passengers, not a member of the crew.
Okay. And Pope.
There is a service trolley for room service that has a map on it.
All right. And again, the final truth is by the players is spoken, and we are alive.
And
we
are live.
For the duration of at least as long as there are candles burning. That's the final truth. Okay. So, seems you're in a kitchen. You found a kitchen down here. And in one of the was covered up in one of the probably I think in well, yeah, I think we're in the process of discovering. We the audience know that it's a rotting passenger. Perhaps not everyone has discovered this yet. Let's see where this goes. What are we doing?
just heading into the room, pushing past Jackson, not knowing what it was that the others saw, just hearing like the gasps of the dying individual just as we were skittering down the stairs, opening up to this oddly lit scene. Taken aback by the freezer being chained shut. The light dangling, flickering, the smell. Smells just because kitchens get this collection of smells, both of cleaning solution, oil, garlic, onion. If it's cooked there a while, it just hangs there. But with that melange of smells, the smell of rot, it all feels wrong here. And just with that, Alan kind of, as he enters the room, sees everything, just kind of goes over to the side of the wall, pushes his back up against it, and just stops. Something's wrong here.
There's something must have. What's the freezer? Something must have happened. See if there's any equipment we can use in case we have to fire off anything.
What is that smell?
Grew up in the swamp, you know it real well. That's rot.
I think Cal's just kind of like, he immediately just like grabs part of his shirt and holds it up over his face so that he doesn't have to smell it as much. And then starts looking around for, I don't know, just initially just looking to see if he can find anything useful.
I'm not going to have you roll yet because I will immediately say there's a knife that you do spot. There's this rack, this knife rack, and there is one knife left sitting in it on the wall.
I was going to look around to see if anybody else has noticed this yet.
At least that's something.
Is there any peppermint over there? I can take it, even if it's dried, crush it, wipe it on the nose. The smell isn't so bad.
I mean, how the hell am I supposed to know where the spice rack is?
No. You can have a look around for it if you like. That I am going to have you roll for, but the knife is free.
Yeah, I'll roll.
All right, so you get 9 dice, and I get to roll against you with my 1 mighty die.
Ooh, no.
Okay. You have a bunch of successes. There's not really any point in my rolling, but I'm going to anyway, just because I can, out of sheer pig-headedness. No success, okay. So there is a 1 there, which will take you down to 8 dice. And, yeah, tell me what you find.
He finds like a tipped over rack. I think it's been kind of rummaged a little bit, so the canisters of the different spices are, kind of at odd angles. Some of them are kind of maybe falling onto the counter, I think. Not so much from like use, because I imagine at this point nobody's really been worried about seasoning anything. Well, I mean, we don't know anything about they, so maybe.
They love paprika.
But I think after a couple of minutes, he does manage to find like a canister of peppermint. Yeah. But I think it's the like dried leaves, not like flakes or anything. I think it's like actual whole leaves. So he's gonna look over at Alan and just kind of, this what you're looking for?
Yeah. Yeah, just do this, and takes 2 leaves, starts like crushing them up, and then just like applies it, putting a little bit of the leaves, having the mustache and the nose hair just kind of cling to it, and it helps dissipate the smell. You can do it with pepper, but you end up sneezing.
I think after seeing that, Cal's gonna kind of like look around to see if he finds a, I don't know, like a towel, like a thin towel.
I think, yeah, I think that having successfully searched around for those things, you did spot something you thought were towels, and you do look over. There is sort of next to the sink. There's this big sort of like tarp thing, and right next to it are some hand towels.
Okay.
This tarp thing is covering the sink.
So he's gonna grab a few of the towels.
And when you head over there, the stench gets really bad.
Okay.
It's like it's right there.
Like almost retch-worthy.
Almost, yeah.
Okay. So holding his shirt over his nose, he's gonna try to grab like 2 of the towels.
Yeah, you got it.
And then he's gonna look back at Jackson. Jackson grabbed the knife, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. So he's gonna grab the towel, and he's gonna hand one to Jackson, and he's like, here, tear this in half.
Yeah, then probably just like rips into it, probably like cuts into an edge to make it easier.
So, and then he's gonna grab some of the peppermint and kind of wrap it in the towel, and then wrap it around his.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we just need to. There should be a door here that leads into a hallway that then leads out to the lifeboats.
You hear a tapping. There's sort of like a little bit of a thump and then a tap, like
Coming from where?
seems to be coming from the freezer. You hear
Chase
this
got it.
sort of throttled, sort of, help, hello, help. It's very muffled.
Alan can't stop himself. He goes over to the door.
He goes over to the door, yeah. So it's
It's the freezer
big,
door.
big chains, padlock.
Who is this?
Alan, is that you? And it sounds like Allison.
Oh shit. Anyone see a key?
You're not seriously thinking of opening that, are you?
No,
It's Allison, guys.
You threw me.
you
in
don't
here.
know that.
It sounds
could be
just
some-
like her.
Yeah,
so cold.
exactly that. It could be something that sounds just like her. It could be them.
We've got a knife. You've got that alcohol. It's worth the risk.
And are you suggesting that she got in there and someone chained her in there to keep her safe?
We didn't see Dave.
Oh, come on, man. You've got to be kidding me. No. Look, we if we get the power started, we can come back for her, okay?
It's so cold. I don't know.
She'll be safer in there.
I don't feel good.
Walking past towards the awful smell, just with this sinking feeling. So past the tarp, as it just gets to like the eye-watering levels, searching for what that smell is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's simple. It is coming from underneath the tarp.
Does it look like the tarp came down through violence, or was it placed there?
It was placed.
Just like almost wincing, grabs the tarp and pulls it back.
There's the body of. This was. Yeah, there's actually it's a pretty big sink.
One of the industrial types.
Yeah, there are a couple of bodies in here.
A couple?
Yeah, they're kind of wedged in. They were a couple. You remember them from down. They were down the end of your hallway. You didn't get their names.
Oh, fuck. Oh, good heavens. But that's not Dave.
They're kind of in this weird sort of kind of embrace on the one hand, but there's like crusted blood. Their tops have been removed. And well, that's what you see at first glance. I don't know if you're going to look any further.
No. With that, just sort of like put the tarp back on. Heads back towards the door. I'm sorry, I was...
Can you help me, please? They threw me in here. I don't know what's happening.
It's not safe.
I'm so cold. I don't know if I can stay awake.
Try and come back. We need to get the power on.
Don't leave me in here. Please. Please don't leave me. Oh, God.
He just kind of looks pleading. He's done talking.
Come on, let's go.
You hear what sounds kind of like crying, basically. Muffled on the inside of the freezer.
I'd like to look around for that key.
Roll 8 dice, please.
Oh,
Okay.
I'd like to use my vice.
All right.
He is sad enough to keep searching.
Okay. And how does your vice play into your continued search?
Again, he's been despairing for days now, not knowing where Cassie is. In his mind, that is Allison. And he can't stand the guilt or being responsible for someone dying. And so with it, he's going to ignore everybody else and just keep looking.
Okay. Now, the thing I did just double check. You only have to re-roll the dice that landed on a 1.
Okay.
So you can keep your 6. So you're gonna roll 3 dice.
3.
Those are gonna be the ones. Okay, no success. I will roll my die. No. You're successful. And those are no longer 1s, so you're not.
Yeah.
You're still at 8. So what do you find?
Does the vice get
happens?
burned, or is the vice flipped?
The vice does get burned.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and flip it over.
Okay.
And
So, he looks. He searches first, like at the base of the door, thinking it was just like left in, but instead, back towards the knife block. In with the mise en place of whatever station this was. In that little bin is the key. And he pulls the key. Just have to crack the door. And he says that, and since no one is stopping him, He goes up, unlocks the padlock, undoes the chain, and cracks the door open, sticking his face in and what light he has.
You see she's down like this. As your light shines down, you see her head and her off blonde hair. It looks like a mess. She looks very pale. And I don't know that, since there's no power, I don't think she's necessarily been frosting up per se. But she does look very cold. Her skin's almost blue. Almost. But she's going to reach forward to try to open the door. Oh, thank God. Thank you.
Just shine a light in your eyes real quick. Make sure that there's nothing off.
So there's a bit of a jerkiness to her. It's still her, but she's like, it's very, her eyes are having trouble following the light. She doesn't flinch when you do it, but she's having some trouble with it. Also, I think now you can see that in the light, actually, as the light comes down to her eyes, and you do note that that her shirt is bloodstained, like up here.
Quick pan of light, just pulling down.
There's a hole in her chest. She's like, no, what are you doing? They did something to me. Oh, God.
And just with that, starts putting the chain back and the padlock.
Actually, I think I'm going to ask you to roll here to see if you actually are managing to keep the door closed whilst this poor person is being confined. This again is.
I'll take my one.
Jim, if he's
only need one.
If he's if we see him stumble back, I think.
Yeah.
It's not a stumbling back. It's an immediate slamming of the door.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you totally get to say what happens here.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a slam of the door, and then like this butterball of a man, just jumping up, grabbing the chain, ratcheting it back down, and immediately grabbing the padlock and snapping it, and then just turns around almost comically, if it weren't for the terror of the situation, putting his entire body up against the door, key still in hand, and just going, oh God.
So let's move on, yeah? I think we've spent enough time in the kitchen.
Yeah. I think,
You should have listened to me. Everybody ever listens to me.
Yeah, I think as soon as, Allison started talking, Jackson's kind of, been at the door where we're going to go. And once the door, slams, just see... and as we get ready to go, he continues to lead the charge.
Okay. Where are you headed? Are you headed further? Are you trying to head down to past the lifeboats? Is that what you're looking to do?
We're looking to get out into that hallway that leads to each of the lifeboats, and just head towards the aft of the ship.
Well, this is where we're going to
Yeah.
come inside of the lifeboats as you're very carefully, Jackson, heading through, trying to remain undetected by anyone. I will need you to roll 8 dice, please. Oh, dear. Dear, 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 dear.
I am. Sorry.
Would you like to burn something?
Yeah. The thing that I have active is the virtue, which is. He is very physically strong, but it's also just like he's very, like, determined person. This hasn't been wearing on him as much as he would think. So.
All right. What is his virtue?
Strong.
Strong. Okay, excellent. So you're bringing that in, burning it to re-roll for those 4 ones. Let's see if you get any 6s. No. But you only lost 2, but then again, that doesn't really matter because this scene is over. So, as you come down into the room with the lifeboats and you see that none of them have been deployed, you hear from sort of above and behind you, from the direction of the kitchen, you hear a major thud, and you hear what sounds like something large falling over. And you hear lots of footsteps. Slowly, as though from a distance, this low thundering. From above, the floor just above, perhaps the mall area, there's something coming. And a candle goes out. And we are going to go to break. We'll see you in a little bit, in about maybe 5-10 minutes. We'll be back soon. We have returned. And as we transition now into this next scene, we have to state our truths, which we had not yet done. And it would have been nice had I'm just going to... There we go. So, these things are true. The world is dark, and...
The cords holding up the lifeboats are visibly fraying.
And?
Some of the lifeboats look like they've been damaged.
And?
One of the lifeboats has a body in it.
And?
Sometimes the victims become something else.
And from above, very distantly, it does sound as though one is hearing a lot of metal being pulled against, sliding against, and things breaking. Possibly a freezer being broken open. And?
There's a very large wave approaching the ship.
Excellent. And?
And I think the thumping is getting closer to us faster than we realize. The noise appears to be getting closer. Not necessarily them.
The noise. Okay, good. And finally, Robbie.
There's a figure standing in the doorway at the other end of this particular hall of lifeboats.
And?
And we are all alive.
Excellent. And we are alive.
For now.
It's always the caveat.
At this moment. All right. So yes, you come down, and these things are true. There is a figure, as the boat seems to be. There's a little turbulence, and there is a figure standing at the far end. Wearing a long, looks like one of the crew, possibly, wearing a long coat.
Immediately flashing the light.
And his coat is closed right now. And he's, as he looks up and you see his hat and you shine the light, he's like, "Hello? Who is that?"
Folks who are still alive.
Oh my God. What do you... I haven't found anyone alive.
Yeah, us neither.
Have you seen them? They're terrible.
Yeah. Let's bring it kindly.
I've only seen outlines. They jump really far.
Hey, you're muted.
You said his coat is closed?
Yes. He's wearing a button-down kind of sort of naval-looking coat.
Like a peacoat?
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of more, a little bit more sort of. It would be like an outer thing for a uniform for this ship, so it's a little showier than that.
Right.
But it's it's basically a navy peacoat.
Okay. How far away are we still? I mean, is he still at the other end, or?
Yeah, he's slowly been sort of stepping forward as you've got the light shining at him.
Light's going to lower, but it's going to lower to the floor, focusing on the pant leg. Just seeing if there's blood on the pants or if he's dripping.
From this distance, it's not easy to tell. You probably need to get closer. There is maybe... You don't see anything dripping, nothing obvious. It does look like these... It does look a little dirty. From what you can see.
We're trying to get to the generator.
He nods. Let me go ahead and actually look at the map again real quick. You folks actually also now have a map. You took a map. Presumably, you had the opportunity to take a map from a service cart. And he'll say, I tried to get in through the main door. I couldn't. There might be their service hatches might be able to get in. I haven't been able to open it yet.
Why don't you lead the way?
Okay, and he sort of stumbles and he's kind of leans against one of the lifeboats. He looks like he's not doing too well. As he turns to try to lead the way down the hallway, he sort of looks and he stumbles. The boat shakes, and there is this point where everyone now for a moment goes kind of is now at like a 45-degree angle. One of the lifeboats comes free. It's from where it's tied up as its cords were fraying, and begins barreling toward you. I think that Jackson and Alan were in the front, so it's going to be sort of barreling toward Callum and Barry. This is sort of tumbling toward you. What do you want to do?
Scream duck and jump to the floor.
All right. Barry, I'd like you to roll 8 dice.
Wouldn't it be...
Oh yeah, no, you get that die back now. It's the beginning of the scene. We've got 8 candles still lit.
Right.
Okay, so 2 successes, 4 ones. You want to burn something?
I would love to burn my relaxed.
Excellent.
And I re-roll the ones, right?
Yeah, and in what way is your relaxed ability helping you here?
So as opposed to sort of diving fervently, I pretty much just like more or less slump to the floor. Just like
sort of bending with it, kind of just rolling.
You know
with
those
something.
dolls that you like push a button and the whole body
Yes!
collapses. That's
You
kind of
do that.
what Barry's doing
Excellent.
at this moment.
Okay, go ahead and burn that virtue, and then roll 4 dice. See what the reroll is. Okay, you have 3 successes, so I don't need to roll. I can't possibly beat that. I can't possibly tie that. And thankfully, none of those were ones, so you're still at 8 dice.
Yes, sir.
And so you tell me what happens.
So I go limp, and I sort of, as I'm doing so, I kind of knock Cal over so that he doesn't get hit by it either. And the lifeboat flies to the other end of the hallway opposite where the crewman came on, and sort of gets lodged at that end of the hall, blocking us
Blocking
off
you
from
in.
that direction.
Yep. Cool. So the boat is now kind of, it's listing, it's starting to sort of come back. It looks like you got hit by a wave. You can kind of hear from above the sounds of chaos now erupting, as there's like a lot of skidding now you can hear from above, and someone is crying out. You hear this sort of like this, and you're not sure what kind of throat it's coming from, but it's coming from multiple throats. And then you hear another metallic snap, and you hear what sounds like a scream, a very human scream, from up above. Sounds probably like Allison.
Running now. Running towards the aft.
Okay. So the crewman is also sort of like, he's sort of trying to get up as you're running. Do you run past him or do you help him up?
Running past.
Okay.
That thing with Allison has got me spooked.
Okay, no, you run past into the next section, past more lifeboats. You're running, and I need you to roll for me to see how this running goes and what you encounter. Okay, you have 2 successes. Let me go ahead and roll. I have no successes, so you get narration. You are going to be in, just so you'll be aware, you should be able to make it through, yeah, you can make it through the lifeboat section here, so what do you find? What happens?
So pass through that section of lifeboats. Hallway ends, but it says service only, the door, at the end of the hall. Then it has like a big set of like heavy but windowed double doors that look out onto a promenade. Service door is unlocked, but as in opening it up, it is pitch black into this other stairwell. Absolutely pitch black. There's a little light coming from the promenade, but it's just like ambient, sort of like whatever little lights are in there reflecting off of reflective surfaces and bouncing back through these windows. The boat rocking back after that wave has passed, and everything is a little topsy-turvy.
Yep.
I think I found our way down.
Yeah, this should be more likely to lead us down to the generator.
Well,
And I think Jackson's like using the knife as like a mirror to reflect, like try and roll a bit more light on the stairs down.
Yep.
I think we need to move faster.
yeah, I would agree with that. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
So with our handheld torches, the lantern, whatnot, we start
Start
our
heading down.
descent.
All right. The crewman is going to be a little bit behind you as you sort of like staggering. He's sort of like leaning on the wall for support, and he's sort of just if anyone glances back at him, he sort of nods. He says, "Yeah, I think that should take us there." Who's leading the way?
With how Alan rushed ahead, I think he's in front at this point because he wants to keep himself away from the crewman.
Okay. So, roll dice. Still have 8 dice.
This is the first system where I have ever hated rolling dice.
2 successes and a 1.
I'll take it.
Alrighty. Well, let me roll. As if I match, then I get narration. If I match, I win. Nope, I don't match. All right. So you're down to 7, and what happens as you're heading down?
Again, this stairwell, there's stairs going up as well as down. We're heading down. We make it to the bottom. There's more light here. As it's closer to the generators, the lights on the service hallway, as well as it's hotter here. Much warmer. All the different conduiting, all the different power routing through here. Tighter space, tighter corridor. Leads into this service hallway down below decks. Yet up above, as we all come through this door, there's a flitting sound. Something moving in the stairwell.
Yes.
Something moving quickly. As we all pour into this tight, well-lit, as well lit as it can be in this heat and power flickering on and off hallway.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite strobing, but it's like if you've ever been on that low-rent part of town where street lights, they shine, but every once in a while it just, and then go back to shining.
Yeah, it's outside of my house. That's what our streetlights are like.
So yes, you hear that from up ahead, and this.
No, that's from behind.
From
That's
behind?
above
Yeah.
and behind.
Oh, from above and behind? Yeah, okay. You hear that from above and behind, this sort of something living. And who's in back at this point? Alan's in front. Who's in back?
I think I am.
Okay. Callum, the crewman, just sort of looks up when everyone kind of hears that. She's down there. Is like, I don't know. They might have come down. I don't know if they're coming down through the vents. I don't think they'd fit, but maybe there are a few access vents they might fit through. Oh, hell.
We
should probably hurry.
You guys made access vents? large enough for something to fit in.
I didn't think we were going to be attacked by these things.
All right.
Sometimes you gotta crawl into a vent to fix it.
Yeah.
Hearing this conversation, just all of a sudden, it's like a cattle prod to the back of Alan.
Yeah.
As he who has not been jogging for years, the idea of run appalling to his lifestyle, all of a sudden is getting ready for the Boston Marathon at this conversation.
Yeah. Let's go. Move. Let's get going.
I think there's a door. Maybe the bulkhead. There's a door we might be able to bulkhead door we can close if it's still open up there. I think you can put it between us and that thing.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Come on, let's go.
Right. Okay. What are you all doing? Just proceeding. Well, Alan's best in marathoning it. What's everyone else doing?
I think Jackson's like on pace. Like we gotta get stuff going now, and like they're basically neck and neck, like going towards where the generator is.
All right. And Callum and Barry, you proceeding ahead?
Yeah.
Yep, keeping going.
All right.
Moving forward.
You round a corner, and you do indeed see that there is a doorway. There's a bulkhead door that is sitting open. The door opens from where your perspective. It opens inward, and so you would be able to go through.
Doors narrow, moving sideways through it into yet another narrow passage. It's even hotter.
Yeah. You do so Alan gets through, Jackson gets through. Barry comes up and is able to get through. Callum, you and the crewman are last. And
Okay.
do you all go through?
Yeah. And as soon as we're all in, Cal's gonna turn around and start to close the door and start working the hatch bolts to lock it.
Yeah. So you're starting to close the door. It's heavy, so it takes a little bit of oomph. The crewman is trying to help you. He's not doing well at helping you, but he's trying. He's like, he's like coughing a lot as he's trying to help you close the door. And you do hear skittering approaching faster, and so Callum, I need you to roll 7 dice. That's what you're down to right now.
Okay.
Ooh. Want to burn something?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of how
your vice would work out.
Yeah, I think I think what's gonna happen here is I think he's gonna get just a bit flippant. I think Callum is gonna get just a bit flippant with this other guy, and also with with some of the others, and just look and go, you guys expect me to do everything on my own? I mean, come on, somebody needs to help this door here. And he's trying to do the bolts. He's like, I can't do all of these.
Like, I'm trying. All right, go ahead and re-roll those ones, and we'll see if you have any success.
So it was just two. Excuse me, just the two, right?
Yep. Nope. I mean, I should roll just, just in case.
Yeah, you should.
But okay. So, either way, I mean, the failure has happened. So, as another candle goes out, you've got it closed, and you're doing the handles. When the boat rocks again with more turbulence and you're all thrown back a bit. And then you hear pounding on the door, on this bulkhead door. And this sound, and it all goes quiet for a moment. It's like, and then you hear from the other side something. Like, is it a chant? Is it a hum? It's like this from, like, it's a deep sort of hum coming from a throat, from someone. And very slowly, you see one of the locks that you've done start to shake and turning itself open. And that is where that scene will end. These things are true. The world is dark, and
In the crash, a bit of bone is peeking from Jackson's arm.
and
there is something, some kind of liquid or fluid dripping from above us. It's dark in color.
and
The liquid is coming from one of the service vents, and it has sort of a sticky, viscous quality to it.
and
And the generator's just past the next hallway.
and the lights, the very dim lights that were here, that were keeping this area fairly well lit, are one by one going out. And
The service vent that the liquid is coming through is melting.
And part of the grating between us and where the generator is torn up. It's kind of twisted and ripped.
at 7. So finally.
And we are.
We are
We're
still alive.
Excellent. So, as we have made this determination, this it is a slow process, this chanting and things moving of their own accord. The boat is kind of stabilized some, it's still a bit rocky. Fluid is dripping from above, a dark fluid. Vent is melting. Lights are going out. There's a torn grating, perhaps, as you're going to see better as you get past the next hallway. But as this is coming out, and you see a look of terror on the crewman's face, he's just like, "Generator should be past, just the next hall."
Running. Just gunning it. Like, recovering from that knock and just getting up and bolting as the lights are just flickering off.
Yeah. Just
just
each
charging.
one winking out kind of almost as you pass behind you, as the corridor behind you all becomes a corridor of darkness. You come up alongside an area where you see this grating that that leads into an area right adjacent to the generator room that looks like it's been torn through.
The subconscious mind has noted it. The conscious mind has not. As it is just all focused on getting to that generator.
All right. You want to go through where the grating is, or do you want to use the door?
Use the door.
Okay. You come around, and there is this door. It's not unlike these bulkhead doors into the room where the engineering section, where there will be a secondary generator, hopefully. And you do hear, well, you don't hear, but further down behind you, you do see where there are some other engineering bits, places, rooms where there are probably various things.
Just immediately trying to get past this door, yeah.
All right. 7 dice, please. One success. Time for me to roll 3 dice. You have narration.
Alan, apparently it was just the weakness of this crew member that couldn't get these open, as one was a little bit stuck. But when you're lower to the ground and have a better center of gravity, you can kind of nudge it through, which Alan does, and just turns the one channel, pushes the door open, stumbles in, to see that the second generator should have kicked on. Callum was absolutely right. It just had one thing wrong. Someone or something had pulled the main line, hooking the generator up to everything else. And it's not torn apart. It's just laying there, casual, just waiting to be plugged back in. And Alan just plugs it, and there's just a simple emergency start. Big red button. Slams the button. And then we just hear the hum coming from this diesel filling the air as this thing turns over, starts belching, the lights flickering back on, back down that hallway, and we hear screaming.
Oh, yes. I will say also, as the lights come back on, Who's so Alan's in there. Where's everyone else?
I think Jackson would have stayed back, like just outside of it, kind of working on setting his arm, and then like tearing off a shirt sleeve and tying it up.
Yeah, you
Yeah, it's like
bone sticking through.
yeah. And then once the thing comes on, it's like, it's almost too easy.
And as you're trying to do this, the crewman will actually, he'll kind of like come over and say, "Hang on, I can help with that. I'm assistant medic."
Much appreciated.
And he sort of was like, he's starting to try to, he's helping you sort of hold your arm still so you can set the bone a little bit better. He's like, okay, you got something to bite down on? This is gonna hurt a little bit.
Kind of like with the free hand, bites into his shirt.
Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3. There is great pain. What are Callum and Barry doing while this is happening?
I'd probably follow him into the backup generator room, and once it's set, like once it's clicked on, I go, all right, so what's sort of the plan from here, guys? To the bridge?
Yeah, we need to get access to a radio. Where's Cal's gonna start looking for a map. Because I would assume that near the generator there probably has to be some kind of diagrams of the ship with like electrical layouts and everything.
Yeah. The map that you have is more just where people can go. But yeah, if you want that, yeah.
And I think he's gonna start looking for where the radio room is.
All right. So yeah. Go ahead and you're gonna roll 7 dice. Yeah.
Roll 7.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you still have 7. Ooh.
Shit.
You want to roll any of those?
Yeah. At this point, I think I'm gonna burn my virtue. Because like he's gonna step back for a moment and kind of take a broader view of the displays that are in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him just kind of like he reaches up and he's kind of like touching one of the displays, and he's kind of like tracing routes a little bit, and then you see him move to kind of like pull back a moment, and then he's gonna snap his fingers, and as he gets a better idea of which ones he shouldn't be looking at.
Okay. What was your virtue?
The virtue is that he's highly intelligent.
Excellent. Okay, burn that and roll 3 dice. We'll see if any of those become anything other than 1s, really.
Yeah.
More 6s wouldn't hurt. Yeah. All right. Well. So, you don't lose those dice. I do still have to roll against you, though. So, that's 3 dice. I got 1 success. I matched. So, what that means is that you succeed, or, well, the scene continues, but I still have narration. So, you're looking around, you think you have figured out where the radio room is. As the, and you'll note sort of as the lights are coming back on, as you're coming out and you're looking, you see that it's down the hallway. It's generator here. Yeah, I'd say it's actually sort of more close to the opposite end of the engine area. So it's not horribly far away, but you got to take a few more corridors. As you're heading out, or you're sort of looking out, you will see the crewman has just helped set Jackson's arm, but he is kind of wincing a little bit and looking down now.
I'm going to kind of nudge Barry and point at it. I'm just kind of like, I don't trust this guy. I'm not so sure that we should be taking him with us, you know?
Something definitely seems off about him. I don't know. We should keep an eye on him.
Yeah. And then I think I'm gonna go ahead and just look at everyone and go, all right, let's get to the radio room.
Should be close to the bridge. So, might as well.
Yeah.
Should be on our way then, right?
Yeah.
So up.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, so they have. They do have a. They do have. Yeah, actually, you're right. It probably would be higher up. Kind of on the other side of sort of the. I mean, like I said, the engine area goes up all the way through, but sort of more on the other end. Okay. So, everyone is starting to head up. Who is in the lead?
I think I will be.
Okay.
Since I was looking at the diagrams and I think I know the way there.
All right. With the lights on, you're not hearing the sounds of the so much. You're hearing them every now and then. The boat is lurching again a little bit, but not horribly. There's like probably some horribly. You hear what almost certainly sounds like a storm outside as this is happening. Callum, I need you to once again roll 7 dice for me, please.
Yep.
Okay. And okay, so scene keeps going. As you are heading up, let me take a quick look at this wee little map. So you've got like 6 floors to get up to get to kind of where the 5, maybe 5, to get up to where the bridge is, and the radio room's probably in that vicinity. You're climbing up this stairwell, and you pass one of the areas and sort of by second class. Sort of probably you're close to the second class cabins. As you get higher up, you're starting to hear more sort of thumps a little bit, and then as you're getting higher up, some of the lights are starting to flicker. The ones below you are not. But as you get higher, the lights in the stairwell are starting to flicker more. And you hear again some sort of humming, almost like carried to you across something. You barely hear it through the sounds of what you think is like maybe rain pelting outside.
I'm gonna look back and be like, come on, we need to hurry through this area. I don't think the power has been fully restored up here.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like the backup's super helpful here.
Breaker might need to be thrown. Which would probably be by the bridge. Oh.
No. We'll worry about that after we get to the radio room.
All right. Radio room is probably going to be. I think I've just unanimously decided that it's probably going to be like one floor just below the bridge. And so you come up to the doorway that will lead you to the engineering section on that level. I'm looking. It looks like that's very close to an entertainment center. If I'm interpreting those symbols, if I'm interpreting those these tiny paintings correctly. So.
Yeah, it looks like it's overlooking arcade.
Yeah, I think that could be what it is. Yeah. So that's going to be. It's going to be a door very near to that section that you're going to come up to. And who is opening that door?
Sure.
Excellent. So, once again, we are still rolling 7 dice.
Okay.
Want to roll that or no?
I'm gonna roll that again. I'm gonna burn the virtue. Actually, no. Well, yeah, I'll burn the virtue, and the virtue is crafty. So, going to, as I'm picturing these doors have the handles that go up and down. But anyone who's worked in the theater knows that down always makes more noise than up. So, I'm going to push the handle up and slowly open the door.
Okay. Burn that virtue and reroll that die. Well, it's not a 1, so you do hold on to it. I will now roll. All right.
Okay, so this opens into the arcade, but the arcade is a scene. There are bodies everywhere. The windowed wall and doors that let out onto the deck are completely shattered. There's a storm outside. There's tons of wind, rain blowing into the arcade, mixing with the blood on the floor, glass scattered about, giving it all this odd little shine to everything. It's damp, it's wet, it's cold. Occasionally, lightning flickers in the distance. A low roll of thunder rolling in. Some of these bodies look like they've just been torn apart by some sort of wild animal. Others almost gathered together in a circle. Their shirts all been divested of or torn off. Gaping holes in their chests. It looks part ritual and part of some sick, twisted idea of fun, as they're arranged holding hand in hand. And creeping out onto the scene, there is no quiet. There's too much glass. There's too much rubble. You can't be quiet. But there is enough rubble to at least have a solid surface despite all the wet. And there is an easily seen stairwell going up, right to where we need to go, clear across the arcade. There's a little light flickering that says restrooms/stairs right across from where we come out.
I just have to make a quick announcement, as we are past 7, that given the timing and given that in the physical game, candles burn out on their own, and that is always, even if the candle burns out on its own, that also signals the end of a scene. Approximately every 10 minutes is when the next is when they're going to, the rate at which they're going to start burning out, if not faster, just based on a few different things. Next one probably is going to be closer to 7 minutes, as I was going to make that announcement a couple of minutes ago, but you know. This is where we are now. So, yes, you do see, you got a straight shot, boat's rocking violently, and there is water coming in from the outside. Very high waves out there as well. What are you doing?
I'd like to do something stupid, Joe.
Excellent. What would you like to do?
I'd like to inspect the bodies in the circle.
Oh,
Alan
good.
needs to know.
You're
Alan's looking
inspecting.
for his friends and his wife.
You're going to inspect the bodies. And I think now then is the time that I would like you to once again roll 7 dice. Okay, 2 successes and a 1. Do you want to burn anything? Well, actually, you can't. You've already burned something this scene, so.
Yeah.
That's, yeah, anyone who's burned something this scene cannot do so. Has anyone not burned something this scene since the last candle went out? I think it's just, yeah, it's just Barry at this point. Okay. So, you are down to 6 dice. Let me roll. All right. Still have narration. What do you find?
So remind me how moments work.
Okay, so if you want to go for a moment, then that is another roll that we will make, and if you succeed at it, then you will get a hope die, which is yours to add to all your rolls, and you don't lose it on ones, and it succeeds on a 5 or a 6.
I'd like to try and take that moment.
Okay. What's your moment, and what do you try to do?
Alan's moment of hope is when he's reunited with his wife. When he knows what happened to her. So he goes and he inspects the bodies in the circle first. And he sees that the entire wedding party, save his wife, is that circle. He starts freaking out a little, searching, and then sees a crumpled form right near the entrance to the restrooms. Then he goes over, kneels down, sees her in her dress, rolls her over, and as soon as he rolls her over, he sees her eyes. It was like she was thrown so hard like a rag doll. Hit the wall. Neck snapped. She's still in one piece, but she's long since dead. He just holds her and cries.
Well, you go ahead and roll the 6 remaining dice. See if you achieve your moment.
And he's just lost. He doesn't muffle his self, he just cries, holding her.
All right.
He's
then
lost.
Then that is where that scene ends. Candle goes out. And let's see. These things are true. The world is dark, and
we hear that humming louder.
And the lights are flickering more frequently, as if they're losing power.
And
one of the bodies in the circle shudders.
and
Dead doesn't mean gone.
I'm going to ask for a little clarification on that one.
Things are getting a bit woozy up in here. This boat is old. And a lot of people died. It's damn well haunted now.
And I think. Well, let me.
Sorry.
I got to do one.
Yeah,
I got to do one. I'm sorry. I was thinking for too long.
Sorry.
And the boat is starting to slow down for some reason. And
Is that
and
6
you,
or
no? You get 6.
okay? And the liquid that we saw before in the engine room is starting to seep out of the machines around us.
Nice.
And
we
are alive.
So, again, as this scene opens, you have there has been morning, and despair. Rain coming in from the outside, water coming in from the outside from higher waves, and the boat is slowing down as the waves are still kind of choppy, but things are kind of dense outside. Lights are flickering. Humming is getting louder, as though coming from some kind of throat. Bodies here are shuddering. And you hear almost like voices of the dead on the wind. You hear from somewhere. I think they're in there. And it sounds kind of like Allison. You're not sure where it's coming from.
Okay, from where we are, you said the radio room is one deck down and a compartment behind?
Yeah, Pope established that it's one deck up.
Oh, one deck up. One deck up, and is it directly over us, or is it...
It's going to be, it's pretty close. It's maybe just sort of like a little bit diagonally, almost directly over you.
Are there any, do you see any ladders or anything up into that area? Any stairwell?
There's a stairwell.
There's a stairwell right where Alan's crying over Cassie. there's a sign that says restroom/stairwell, and in there, series of restrooms, and then another stairwell that leads up.
Okay. Cal's gonna look around the bridge, start moving around, looking at the, kind of like going around the bodies.
Not quite at the bridge yet, but you're in the arcade. You can.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No problem.
So if we're where we are, he's gonna move around the bodies towards the stairwell.
All right.
Then I thought we were in the bridge. So.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. You're still in the arcade right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you walk across, stepping between bodies. Glass crunching is underfoot, and this is when a hand comes up from one of the bodies and tries to grab you around the leg. What are you doing? It's someone in a cocktail dress.
I'm going to try to kind of leap away from it.
Okay. I need you to roll 6 dice for me, please. Okay. So again, it is a new scene. Oh, you're down to your moment, so you can't burn that. So, yeah. So we're down to, that is a success. Down to 5 dice. Let me go ahead and roll. My 4 dice. Is that right? No. Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have narration. What happens here?
So Cal kind of like steps away just a little bit, and from the body that was reaching up, and is going to just with like a look of kind of fear and disgust at that point, is just gonna kind of look and go, we need to move, and then start kind of moving, not really waiting for anybody.
I would like to start running towards the stairwell and prepare my Molotov that I essentially have waiting to chuck it into the circle of bodies.
Okay, you're getting your Molotov together.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're putting that together now? Is that right? You're
Yes.
all right. Go ahead and this. I'm gonna have you roll. Go ahead and roll 6 dice, please.
1, 2, 3. Don't I only roll 5 because you rolled a 1?
5
there?
dice. You're right. Sorry. It's gonna
No
be
worries.
5 dice.
5.
Things are looking a little tense. I will just to throw in a wee bit of narration here, but I will say that again the crewman is kind of sort of hobbling along as well, and he's sort of looking around, and as you're preparing it, he will say to you, "It's probably best to don't know how they're going to come back. Sometimes they don't come back well." And do you want to let's see? Do you want to burn anything for that one, or do you want to keep it?
Well, can I burn my vice is unfocused. Can I burn that here?
If you can figure out a way to work it into the narrative, yeah, you would burn it here and then try to re-roll that one.
Basically because he's not a focused person, he's kind of like splitting his attention, like, yeah, we need to like get rid of this, and also like, oh, I need to get on the stairwell, and he's also like, his mind's just shooting in like 5 different places right now, so.
Cool. So you're like distractedly trying to put this thing together. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. So
roll a die. Roll 1 die to see if that. All right,
hey, we don't lose it.
You don't lose it. Let me roll. And you have narration here. So what happens? As the bodies are twitching and you're working on your Molotov, what do? What happens?
So he basically gets the Molotov ready, lights it, and chucks it tries to chuck it into the circle so that it explodes and hits more than one of them, hopefully. And so there's just a big sort of circle of fire in the midst of them.
Excellent.
And then I'm running towards the stairwell and kind of like, probably not actually grabbing, but certainly like shoving Alan to be like, we have to go now. And keep running up towards the stairwell.
You're all, presumably all, racing toward the stairwell, yes?
Yes, I think Jackson would kind of take the knife out of his belt, pass along with Lantern, and just like holding up the rear.
All right. It has been 10 minutes since the last candle went out. A breeze flies through, and another goes out. So, these things are true. The world is dark.
And the bridge is not empty.
Bridge not empty, that's awesome. And?
And that noise, the humming noise, is present, except it's louder. It's like a horde of cicadas.
Excellent. And?
We can hear both human and inhuman screeches coming from below us in the arcade.
And?
When we reach the bridge, we come to a stop.
Okay. And, through a porthole. Actually, you're probably at a point where you pass through the open air. So you don't even need the porthole. But you see ahead of you, the boat appears to be pulling into an island that does not look familiar to you. There in the dark. Has trees upon it. It has a little mountainous thing on it.
Oh.
And
we are alive.
Excellent. You have almost reached the bridge, but you have stopped here. You hear these human and inhuman screeches coming from places. Sounds like there might be someone on the bridge. Loud humming, cicada-like now. What's everyone doing?
Alan, tears streaming his face, is just holding the stairwell door shut. All of his weight just pressed up against it, holding it shut. It's clear on his face. He's just done.
Well, I think we see our new destination. And just kind of like continues going up the stairs.
Did you say you're going somewhere? What did you say?
I'm sorry. I said I was just going to continue going up the stairs.
Okay, yeah, you're basically... You've got the bridge, and you probably also got the radio room, which is going to be very nearby.
Yeah.
There's up a little stairs, and the radio room's a little below the bridge.
Yeah.
When Jackson makes a comment about having seen our new destination, Cal's just going to shake his head and go, "Nah, I don't think we should go out there. Something brought us here. I don't think going out there is a good idea."
Nope.
Does anyone know how to steer a ship?
We can get a call out for help. We don't need to worry about steering a ship.
And I've seen some of them do it a little bit, but I wouldn't be very good at it.
Oh. I'll hold the door.
Jackson goes and opens the radio room.
Jackson goes into the radio room and must roll 5 dice.
Okay. 5 dice. Okay. I will burn the vice to reroll the 1. Jackson's vice is brash. He is going in there with 0 precaution.
Awesome.
Just try opening the door. Roll just the 1.
Oh dear. Okay.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. So you open the door and you see that the radio room is not currently occupied, but the radio equipment has been smashed. And another candle goes out. These things are true. The world is dark and
Jackson hasn't been slowed.
okay.
And the goop that was coming out of some of the panels that we had seen earlier, there's a pile, almost a column of it in the radio room, and it seems to be taking on a form.
All right. And
The captain is in the bridge.
and
The captain is not alone on the bridge.
and
And we
Are still
are alive.
alive.
so yeah, there is this stuff forming into something. Seems to be getting bigger, or seems to be looking vaguely humanoid. In the radio room, Jackson, you will note this.
I think he is still reckless at this point, at least a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just going to. He is just going to chuck the knife at it, hoping that he'll stop it.
Excellent. Please roll 4 dice.
Yeah. If it wasn't clear, I'm going for the optimistic jock archetype. So, 4 dice.
Nope. Do you want to? Well, no, you don't have anything left
can't
to
burn
burn.
the moment. Nope.
Yep, can't burn a moment that way. Okay. So, here's what happens. You slam the knife into it, and it just sort of gets absorbed into the mass as slowly it starts to rise. Out in the stairwell, Alan is holding a door shut. I presume the door, just for clarification, is the door you're holding shut the one to the arcade, or to the one to the
Yes,
bridge?
it's the one to the arcade.
The bridge still is a door has not been gone through yet. We know who's there somewhat, but we won't know until we're there. And at this point is also going to be when the crewman clutches his chest. And I don't know who's out there with him right now. It could be Callum or Barry. He's going to sit down and he says, I don't think I've got much longer. Sorry, I don't know how I was able to stay up this long anyway. They're doing something, I can feel it. You may want to hurry. And you can tell, he's digging at something. And he sort of opens a button and you can tell that there's blood. There's a lot of blood underneath. Dried blood underneath underneath his pea coat. And he's like, and he sort of sees, he's like, they took my heart out. I shouldn't be able to run around. I'm trying. I don't know if I'm going to make it. And candle goes out. Because that's the end of the scene. So, 3 round. These things are true. The world is dark. And
the liquid fights back.
And Cal is beginning to become a bit unnerved by the humming sound.
And
Allison is banging on the door that Alan's in front of.
Nice. And we
are all
alive.
Alan, I think you need to let us in now. You need to let us in now, please.
You heartless beast of a woman, stay the hell outside.
It's all right. It was holding me back. I understand now.
And him still, eyes blinded with tears, is holding the door shut.
Well, if you see Dave up there, will you at least say hello for me? This is very important, what we're doing. Very important. You'll see soon.
Given that the crewman has revealed that he's gonna be one of them soon.
Yeah.
Pretty
He's sitting
much.
there. He's not doing anything. He's just sitting there right now. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. The windows are like busted in this room, right?
Yeah.
I would like to try and pitch him out a window.
Okay. We've got basically in this area, sort of, since you're in a stairwell, it would be like a porthole, basically. Or you could go back to where you can see the outside, and then you can pitch him from there if you want.
But that'd be back in the arcade, wouldn't it?
It's the way down to the arcade. It does. There's a point where the stairs go up through the open air, basically, and out of the storm. And so it wouldn't be quite at the arcade. So you got like open air. So you got your area, open air, then another enclosed area where Alan is holding a door.
Okay, I'm gonna go and try and chuck him out there because I still think we can make it, but not if he's with us.
Well, 3 dice, please.
Yeah, 3. Would like to.
You can only. Well, actually, let me see. Where are you?
My moment. So my moment was reaching the backup generator, which we've done. So I can.
Oh yeah, we didn't do your moment. So yeah, if you want to go for, we could try retroact. I'll go ahead and give you another roll on this one, for achieving the moment. As you realize, hey, we hit the backup generator. That This is going to work out just fine. You say, chucking the poor crewman overboard, or trying to, what?
Do I re-roll?
So yeah, I'm well. Since we're still in this scene, though, I'm just going to have you roll 3.
Roll 3 again.
Yeah.
All right. Nothing.
Yeah. Nope. All right. Well then. You're trying to. You head down to hurl him off. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Listen, we can still make it, but if they took your heart, man, I'm sorry, but that's it for you.
Shakes his head. No, I'm sorry. And he's catching hold on to the stairs. He sort of plants himself. And he starts looking up. Now you go. You run. I don't know how long I can contain this. And you see his fingers are extending into claws. And you see, perhaps as he's talking, his tongue is getting longer. And his eyes are narrowing. Go. And we flip the card over to snuff out that candle. These things are true. The world is dark. And
and the bridge door is barred shut.
And something on the island is moving towards the ship.
Oh, yes.
And we are alive.
Yes. So, the crewman, his name is Carl, by the way. No one ever asked him.
There's no time for names.
Is leaning there, just sort of back and forth. Now sort of swinging back and forth, trying to hold back as he's on the edge, sort of to the outside, on the side of the stairwell. It's just told you to run. This shape has leapt up from the island and appears to be flying toward you. Big wings and perhaps horns, it's hard to say, but definitely has big wings. It is flying toward the ship, and it seems the door to the bridge is barred. What are we doing?
I think Jackson's still trying to stop the goo. Just like, or is at least like backing up, kind of on the defensive.
Yeah, the goo is now sort of now it has shoulders, which it's now cracking, and it seemingly it's now taking on a somewhat human-looking form. And what are you doing to fight it?
I think as Anaja sinks into it, Jackson's just kind of like, I can't fight this thing. Then runs back to slam the radio door shut.
All right. Please roll 2 dice.
Nope.
Creature comes forward, shoves you as it finishes starting to transform, or finishes kind of the initial part of its transformation. It looks relatively human, except with strange sort of slitted eyes and slightly longer tongue. And as it's there at the radio door, and you can see kind of everybody leaning through as you've been shoved back, it sort of turns, looking up and then down, and you hear him say, "Oh, hi, Alan. Is that Allison out there? I just figured out how to travel much more efficiently. You should really let her in," says Dave. Candle goes out. This thing is true. The world is dark and
we are alive.
Well, no, you get one.
Oh, sorry. Oh, one. Oh, I thought that the last one was still we are no.
Oh, you're right.
Oh,
You remembered. That is the last fact now.
we are alive.
Yeah. You're alive. Congratulations.
I don't think we're getting all in unison because this is grim.
Yeah.
We are just alive.
So, what's everyone doing? Barry, Callum, we haven't heard from you in a little while.
Cal is... So when Cal sees this happen, he backs away and is kind of just stumbling, trying to get away from this thing.
The thing being Dave, basically, at the door, that thing, or are you referring to Carl, who's like leaning on the edge and trying to hold himself back?
Both, actually.
Okay. Where are you going?
I think he's stumbling back towards Alan and Barry.
All right. Just taking up a defensive position, trying to keep them at bay.
I mean, at this point, he's kind of, Cal's kind of freaked, so he's not really thinking about defense. He's thinking more kind of just distance. More than anything. I mean, it's not really like a defensive. It's not like you know,
right.
arms up or trying
that's
to,
good.
prepare anything.
Well,
He's
we can always see how this turns. Roll a die.
oh dear.
I'm gonna go ahead and roll my 9 dice just because I have them.
Just-
Hey.
Oh, look, I got 5 successes.
Well,
I think at this point is when the door that Alan can no longer hold the door, it breaks open. Allison comes in on one side, Dave comes in on the other. As they approach you. Carl
Like,
is just shaking his head and just says, "I'm so sorry."
I'd like to amend our previous statement about I am alive.
We'll get that in a moment. The door to the bridge opens, and the captain stands there smiling, a hole in his chest, as something lands on top of the ship with a loud thump. He smiles, he says, "We've arrived at our destination at last." And the last candle goes out. Well, this much is true. The world is dark.
Oh dear. Camera's busted. Just great. Well, at least the audio seems to be working. That means that somebody will be able to hear me. Not that anybody ever does listen to me, that is. You know, I never do. On a cruise, they said, it'll be fun, it'll be relaxing, you'll have a good time. Now, I'm trying to tell them I wouldn't, not one bit. But would they listen to me? No, of course not. And so here we are. Well, at least here I am. Cabin full of strangers. If somebody does get to hear this, get to listen to this, know that in the end we tried. I mean, yeah, we gave up at first. When the engines died. When the ship stopped moving. When the lights died. When the screaming died. We barricaded ourselves in this cabin. And we waited. For what, I don't know. Hunger. Thirst. Maybe thought we'd kill each other. Anything would be better than... well, them. As long as they didn't get us. Whatever they are, whoever they are. It's been a couple of days now. The engines came back on, and the ship has started moving. The others think that there is another generator, one that we might be able to get to. Maybe send a call for help. I think they're nuts, but of course, they're not going to listen to me. So, we're going to try. And if we succeed, well, then nobody gets to hear this. Maybe that means somewhere along the way they listened to me. And if we fail, well, then somebody gets to hear this. Either way, in the end, somebody finally listens to me.
Hello, this is Jackson Hall. I am a student from Oregon State, and if you're listening to this, we failed to stop them. The power went out a few days ago. We're trying to find a different generator, but if you're listening to this, we failed. So, to my best friend Caden, who chose this trip idea, this is all your fault. Because this is your idea. The whole sky darkening, all of it. Your fault. To my sister Elizabeth, I love you, and I'm sorry I wasn't better at keeping in touch. So like the new boyfriend, though. And to Mom and Dad, I am sorry I didn't tell you I was going on this trip. That's pretty lousy of me. And finally to you, whoever's listening to the message and trying to stop them. Good luck.
Mom, Dad, it's me, Barry. I know I haven't always been the best son. I was lazy and didn't try for so long. I was never grateful for the things you did for me. I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening right now, and I don't know if I'll ever see you again. But I just want you to know I love you. And I'm sorry that I wasn't better, that I didn't try harder.
I know not who will read this, but my name is Alan Best. I tried to be a good husband, a good friend, a good person. I didn't always succeed, but I tried. I don't understand what has happened. What is happening. I just know that survival is slim, and this may be my last chance to say anything to the cosmos. Love is important. It inspires, it creates, it protects. It allows music, art to exist. Without it, poetry wouldn't happen, that's for certain. And more certain is we wouldn't exist.
Not that it matters much now. If life ever resumes and this is found miraculously, know that for all our faults we did love. Not enough, but we did. Care for one another. Do not hesitate to speak your feelings. Try to be honest with everyone, especially yourself. Dreams may be silly, but that shouldn't decrease their value. I think that's all the wisdom I've got right now. And though there's no reason to write this, I just want to. I miss you, Cassie. I love you. Goodbye.
Well then, we have come to the end of our time. That is 10 candles. Thank you all very much for playing. We have, we got through it. We're gonna go around, and come to our outros now that our story is at an end. And feel free to say, again, any thoughts you had about this session, and where folks can find you, and all of that. And we're going to start with Pope. Hang on, sorry. I didn't change the audio. I apologize. Changed the audio in one place, didn't change it in another. I will fix that right now. Speakers. There we go.
All right. Hey, everybody. Pope here. Yeah. Wow. That was a thing that happened. I'll do the collect my thoughts after I do the plugs. Pope World Build on the Twitter, Pope World Build on Twitch. I lurk in all your streams. If you want to see more of my ridiculous face, I will be on Matev7's channel next week at 9:30 Eastern Time, 6:30 Pacific, for the dreadful beat of DJ Strahd. So if you're looking for something completely opposite of what this is, go and check us out there. It is one hell of a time. We just got started. If you like, the 80s, if you like comedy where everyone's playing the most ridiculous characters, but it's painfully straight, like these characters aren't in on the joke, come and check us out. Otherwise, there's a couple of things I can't talk about quite yet, but you will see me on the horizon. Now, to this. 10 Candles is something I heard about a while ago. It has been on my definitely must try list, but as for my local friends horror, something that we touch on but we do not indulge. So this was a treat, getting to try out something so different, and has this beautiful design of precisely what you're getting into, which is the best thing you can do in horror. And I loved every second of it. I loved being with this fantastic cast, and Jim, once again, you continue to outdo yourself. And as I try to say every time I'm on any stream, I want to thank all of you who are here with us, whether it's live, pod, YouTube, what have you. Thank you for joining us for these stories. And to all of my cast, Jim, and all of you, I love you. Take care, and I'll see you sometime else.
Thank you so much. Robbie.
I'm Robbie. I'll plug my stuff real quick as well. You can find me on Twitter being a generic degenerate at lobster_writer. And you can find the podcast I host with my one of my best friends on animationstation.libsyn.com. We review animated films and sometimes bits of TV that we feel don't maybe get enough praise, although sometimes that's not the case, but that's what we do, and it's a lot more goofy, obviously, than this. This was a lot. It ramped up a lot there at the like once you get down to like 5 candles and suddenly it's like snowballing into terror. It's like, oh, okay, all right. But it was a great time. Thank you so much for having me on here, and thank you so much to all you players as well. It was a lot of fun. Y'all were great.
Thanks so much for coming on. It's always awesome to get new faces on here, so I very much appreciated it. Excellent. This was a lot of fun to play. And Levi.
Hey, I'm Levi. Levi57 on the Twitters. It's always a lovely time on Channel Otherdoc. Great to play with Rock again. Nice to meet Robbie, and first time playing with Pope. That's really cool. And for plugs, tomorrow at a time, I am on K-Fade's channel playing Trefoil, a kind of monster of the week, very episodic campaign, and we kind of have every tone, kind of. And if you want a less legit scary game for Spooky Month, Levi-Phipps.itch.io, I have a hack of Greenhouse Go Crashers called Graveyard Smash, which is based off of the Monster Mash. And I'm a contributor to the DM's Go product, Gnarls Candy Compendium, by my pal Mackenzie Lane Diarmas. So that's check all that stuff out. And once again, thank you all very much for just the great time.
Thank you so much. I loved I loved your character, and it's just it's always a delight having you on. Rock.
Hey, I'm Rock. I can be found on Twitter and pretty much anywhere else as Rock007. I'll be back in just a few days on the channel for the mini campaign of Don't Rest Your Head. Other than that, most of the time the Twitter feed is just used to rebroadcast and promote shows and appearances of a lot of the other gamers that I really enjoy watching. So this is a blast. It's always a blast coming on here on your channel, Jim, and being able to play through. It's always a good time being able to hang out and play with Levi. The opportunity to finally be able to get into a game with Pope, who I see a lot of times over on Tales from the Grim. That was neat. And then again with Rob, always a great time meeting new gamers on your channel. So I love it here, man. it's a great environment to be able to get together and play with people and especially meet new gamers and other gamers.
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun to run. I'm still just sort of I'm still struck with the whole thing, which is why I apparently I neglected to put out the links as we were doing this, and did everything in a slightly odd order. So I'm putting them out there now. There we go. Everybody's links. But thank you all very much for watching, and thank you folks all for playing this. I've always wanted to do 10 Candles, never had a chance, and this was neat. This was really neat seeing. I love games where you can throw the narrative back and forth, and this was particularly effective. I really liked it. What's happening with me? Strangely enough, I also have things that I can't talk about yet, but they're coming, and I'm looking forward to them. I want to thank Wild Engineer for giving me access to the setup here for 10 Candles on Roll20. Who's Wild has run this before, and in fact will be next week when we have our second one shot of 10 Candles. Between then and now, though. On Tuesday, as previously mentioned, we have the second episode of Don't Rest Your Head. We have our insomniacs fighting nightmares. One of them has already gone into the Mad City, and we shall see what happens to everyone. I can't wait. And then on Saturdays we have our Invisible Sun campaign, The Edge of Paradox, where we've been having a lot of fun there. Recently, we just did sort of a development session last night. We only had a couple of players because a bunch of folks were out at Big Bad Con, but next weekend I think we'll have more players together. So we'll see kind of where they go next. And then, of course, Sunday, 1 week from today, another session of 10 Candles, but I'll be playing this time, heavens help me. And Wild Engineer will be on running it. I can't wait to see it run by someone who has actually run this game before and see what that's like. I'm really looking forward to it. So right now, I actually don't really have anything going per se in the way of signups. I need to get that together very soon. So within the next couple of days, hopefully, I will have new signups posted for Trail of Cthulhu, which is a one-shot I'm going to try to run at the end of the month, and next month's short campaign, which will be Alas for the Awful Sea, which is another Powered by the Apocalypse game. Takes place in, I think, roughly the 1800s off a coast, and all the different characters are different folks who might be on a ship, and who are also, some of whom have ties to strange things out in the ocean. So it's something that I saw it run on Off the Table, and it was something that I wanted to get into. And so as we continue our cavalcade of playing every campaign, every single game known to man, that's what we're hitting up next after this month. So signups for those will start soon, as soon as I can get everything together. And when that does, you just go to jimyesthatjim.com, click on Game Sign Up, and as always, beginners are welcome. So let's see, when we hit the end card, where shall we go? Well, the old familiar Tales from the Grim, they're doing Star Trek, which is where I'm going to be headed, so let's do that. Let's go over there and say hi to them. So you can feel free, if you wish, to hang on when we hit the end card, and we will go and raid them. In the meantime, though, folks, thank you very much for watching. Take care. Keep the lights on, would you? Farewell.